What is up, folks? All right, so I am really loud, actually. I think I'm in the red here. Hold on a second. Let me. Sorry if I blasted your ears out on my excited "What is up, folks?" Trying to be a YouTuber here. All right, so what I'm doing today is I'm working on a blog post because it's Monday, and that's what I do on Mondays. And I was actually writing a blog post about, well, I was updating a blog post that I have about when to use reducer versus use state. And in the process of doing that, I was making an example, and I was basically writing a blog post within a blog post. And so I thought I should just take this out and then reference it later. And because it's not like the key piece of the blog post. And so I'm writing a new blog post titled "Stop Using Is Loading Booleans." And in the process of doing that, I thought, hey, it would be cool if I rewrite this example using state machines to be like, hey, so you can do this, or you can take it to the next level, use a state machine, and it'll be even better. So I don't know how to use or write state machines. I have a blog post about like the beginners or the super simple intro to state machines, where we implement our own state machine library. But I've actually never built a legit state machine before. And so I wanted to try that out. And so that's what we're doing today. So hopefully that's awesome. And it's David Gortschied. Sweet. I was hoping that you'd see this when I included xstate in my tweet. But yes, please do correct me. I'll be keeping my eyes on the chat as we go through this. But yes, please do correct me as I make mistakes. Now, let's jump into this stuff. So here's the blog post, and let me pull over VS Code. We're actually not going to be working in this. I'll be working in a code sandbox most of the time, but I'll just get this up and ready for live streaming in the process. So yeah, this is my blog post that I was updating today. I'll probably change it to be next week's blog post after I publish this one. And yeah, let's grab my code sandbox. Here it is. So this is the use reducer version of this. We've got a use geo position custom hook. And the purpose of the blog post is to say, hey, use a status, don't use an is loading, because there can be bugs that people can write because you're not using a status. And so this is like the final version, but then I want to say, hey, take it to the next level and like just embrace the fact that you're writing a state machine. And let's use xstate to create a state machine, like a legit one. And so that's where I'm at right here. I've got xstate and xstate react in here. I got my context, which is what I snagged that from my initial state here, minus the status, which is now going to be my finite state. But yeah, position and error are the things that don't have finite values, and so those go into context. Not react context, you're not thinking of the right thing there, but just things that are technically state but are not finite. That's context. David, please correct me if I'm wrong. And then we create our machine here with, we're going to call it our geoposition machine, where our initial state is idle. And then here's our context with position and error as null. And then here are our states. We start out in idle, and here are the different events that we can send that can change our state. And yeah, those are the possible transitions that we can make. And I'm actually curious now, because I know that there's this really cool visualizer. I'm curious to know if the machine that I've got here will actually work with that visualizer. So let me just snag this and copy and paste it into this bad boy and update. Boom. Sweet. No errors. That's good. And so we can reject from the get-go if geolocation is not supported. And like maybe you could argue that it would be better to just render something different to the user, like check for this first and then render something different. Don't even use the hook, but then you had to do some funny stuff because conditional hooks and stuff. So we're not going to do that. So we do have a reject state here that we can just go straight from idle to rejected, and that would be sad. But we can also transition, and maybe you could argue that this is a different state, but we can transition from rejected to resolved for a case where we got the user's position, we're all good, but then there was some sort of error, so we go to rejected, and then that error takes care of itself on the device, and so we go back to a resolved state. But technically, if I'm in using a device that doesn't support geolocation, then it's not possible for me to go from rejected to resolved state in that scenario. And so maybe I could change this to be like reject not supported, and then that can just be a terminal state. I mean, I don't know. Why not? Sure. So let's go ahead and make that. We're going to go rejected, not supported. Yep, sure. And then we don't have anything. This is a terminal state. I don't know if there's anything special I need to do for this. But yeah, like once you get here, you're toast. And so here we're going to reject to rejected, not supported. Yep. Totally open to feedback on that because I don't know what I'm doing here, but here we go. Update. Boom. So if you reject from idle, boom, you're in rejected, not supported. Game over. So that's too bad. All right, reset. Then we can go to start. We're in pending, and that's like we're requesting the user's permission to get their location, and when they accept, then it takes some time for the geolocation to be determined, and so we're pending in that time. And then we get the user's location. We're like, sweet, we're resolved. And the user's location updates again. So we get back into the resolved state and boom, 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 as the user's walking around or driving or whatever. And then they go into a tunnel or something. We can't get their state or their geolocation. So we're rejected now. We're like, sorry, can't find where you are. Here's your last position or something. But we can't get to where you are. And then eventually we come out of the tunnel and boom, we're resolved again. And we're super happy about that. And we're just stuck in this eternal loop of rejected and resolved until finally the component unmounts and the state machine just goes away like magic. Okay, so that part makes sense to me. So here's the part that is going to be a little more tricky. I feel like there are multiple ways to do the same thing, and I'm just trying to understand the trade-offs so I know. By the way, I have my hood on because I have like... maybe my hood has kind of fixed it, but I had like this hair on this side. This is like a mirror image. I can't get it, but on this side it was like sticking up really bad and I felt gross. So hood is on for that reason. Yeah, so now in our original one with use reducer, we had some logic in here for doing the side effect because we're doing all this magic in use effect. But David is telling me, and like other state machine people are telling me, like Ryan is saying, hey, you don't really need use effect. You just do all this stuff in transitions. And you could either do it in transition or on enter and on leave events. So, and I still don't know which is better. I hear that transitions are better because, and the example somebody on Twitter gave me was when you transition from waking up in the morning, like from your bed to the kitchen, then that transition triggering making a cup of coffee, that makes sense. But you wouldn't want to make a cup of coffee every time you enter the kitchen, right? So that wouldn't make sense. So transitions just tend to make more sense. And that actually makes sense to me, that you'd prefer transitions. Like when I transition from, well, in this case, anytime I transition into pending, then I would want to start like getting the position, the geolocation position. So I don't know. I don't know what's better. David, please tell me, because I'm not sure. But what I'm going to investigate first is actually just what's in the XState docs here for XState React. And what it has here is, well, actually earlier, I feel like there were some things right here. So yeah, it has this on. So on this event, then we're going to do this action to update the context. And that's kind of the approach I'm going to try. So here's what David says. Transitions are more specific. Use entry or exit if you want to dry stuff up. Okay, cool. That makes sense because I am going to need to request the user's location when we transition from pending to resolved, when from idle to pending. And then I guess we're just subscribing. We don't actually request the user's location. We're just subscribing, and then our subscribe callback will be updating or sending more events. Okay, so that's the specific use case. But anyway, I need to play around with this stuff more because I don't feel like this is going to give me the exposure to XState that I really want to. So I think that what I need to do is when I enter the pending state, I want to start this watch position stuff. And then we'll do the clear watch stuff here. Because what I want to try, I want to see if I can get away with removing use effect and just saying, hey, let's use this machine. The trick is, how do I clean up that watcher? Like, how do I run this clear watch without use effect? I don't know if that's possible. So let's do baby steps here. So with this send thing, I wonder if I can send multiple or send like some values to update my context. Maybe that like sort of would make sense. I don't know if I can send a second argument. I have a feeling that's going to be the wrong way to do it, but let's just see here. Events. Send event. Yep, we've only got that. It looks like there's not really a way to do this, or to send additional data when you call send, which I guess makes sense. You just want to trigger an event and then have some sort of side effect, get the stuff that you need, I guess. So you have transitions. You can send events like dispatch. Okay, specify a type. Oh, very good. That makes sense. Okay. Well, let's do that. Let's just get this thing working, and then I want to change it to do more what seems to be more idiomatic X state, where you have all of your side effects stuff inside the machine. So we'll see. So with send start, we don't need to send anything. With this reject not supported, that's a finite state. I don't need to send any additional information, so that's fine. And then here we're going to say send type is resolve and position. And then here for our reject, type is reject and error. Okay, cool. So then with that, how do I respond to this? I'm assuming that I accept that through this same mechanism. So we specify a target and then an action, and then I can use this as assign magic thing, but I don't like magic. Well, I love magic. I just don't like not understanding it. So we're going to figure out what that function's called with here. So on our resolved here, on resolve from pending. So we were pending, we're now resolved. Our target is going to be resolved, and our action is going to be function, I'm assuming. That's what that is. We're going to get our args, and we're going to console log those args. Let's figure out what this thing's all about. And geolocation is not cool, actually, because sometimes it just takes forever for it to load my position. So kind of thinking maybe I'll do something else, but I'm not getting any logs. That could be a code sandbox issue. So let me get logs here. Yeah, okay. So that's not helpful. I'm not getting any logs at all. I'm getting some chats though. I love Magic the Gathering too. Are you making a comment about my hood? I should get into Magic the Gathering because I'm a bit of a nerd, but I haven't yet. I love Dominion though. Big fan of that. Or like Settlers. Am I a noob gamer, like physical gamer? Event target, same thing. Got it. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, okay, so far I'm doing fine. I just need to figure out why this action is not It doesn't appear to be getting called. And so what that tells me is that an action is not a function, but maybe some sort of, I don't know what it is. Let's find out what actions are. Actions. It's a mapping to these actions, but it depends. Of course, it depends. They mean different things. Yeah, okay, I think I understand what that's talking about. No. Here it is. Context and event. It is not recommended to keep this in production code as it makes it difficult to debug, serialize, blah, blah, blah. Okay, cool. I'm cool with that. I can do that. So it's the second argument to the machine. We've got an object of actions. I can do that. No problem. No problem. So my action is going to be, we're going to say set position. Yeah. All right. That sort of makes sense. And then we're going to say actions, set position. And this is going to take my, what was it? The context and event. And I can use that assign helper later. Yeah, but I think I want to figure out how to do this without that magic helper right away. So sweet. So we're going to set position, context, event, and with that, we'll just say context dot, or here, I want to console log this stuff. I have an idea of what I think these are, but I just want to make sure I have a good understanding of what these are. Okay, we're going to get rid of this and return to do. And then we're just going to console log status, position, and error. Boom. Cool. All right, we're just getting a bunch of nonsense here thanks to geolocation being the worst. Kind of thinking maybe I will hack this together. Oh, wait, we've got resolved. Still no position and error and no log in my actions. So that's not working. Let's see. Well, let's go ahead and speed up our feedback loop here so I don't have to wait on the browser to figure out what it wants to do for my geoposition. We're going to just comment this stuff out, and we'll do a set timeout after 100 milliseconds. I don't know. That's kind of probably worthless, but we'll put it right there. Position is going to be chords lat boo, and long is ba. There we go. Beautiful. Okay, cool. So now, whenever I say okay, cool, my phone is like, yeah, see, it wants to show me this video, the shins. So now what? Okay, I don't know what that is. Apparently I asked Google so now, and that's what it came up with. So we can send people to the moon. Actually, no, we haven't for years. What is up with us? Okay. So I got to figure out why my set position action isn't getting called, even though I specified it here. And I noticed that in one place that this could be an array, but that doesn't appear to make any difference. So that's probably not it. Let's see. Figure out what's going on here. Coming back here to our actions. So we have our target, transition actions, and then our second argument has actions, and then the action implementations. We have activate right here. You can say, okay, boomer to Google. That's hilarious. No way. Okay, turn off. It's so funny though. Like, this device is very interesting because it actually does work. It does a pretty good job of preventing my my kids or my wife or anybody from being able to open it with or activate it with their voice. But I can say the most the most like whatever that does not sound like okay Google, and it will not start up. It will start up despite that. I don't know. It's weird. Actions, can't actions. Oh, did I spell it just action? Actions. Okay. Let's do that. Boom. I should use TypeScript. Mark is here. What's up, Mark? Was going to make a joke asking you Dave's here. It's kind of redundant. Yeah, TypeScript would yell at you. Yes, I know. I should use TypeScript. We all should be using TypeScript. Everyone use TypeScript. All right, we solved it. We're good. We're in a good spot now. So cool. I've got my context and my event. Boom. Context, event. Awesome. And I've got the position as part of the event. So then here I can just say context.position equals event.position. We can refactor this to use the assign helper later. But what this means now is I can get rid of this to do and it should just work. Except I need to not do lat long, this garbage here. So I want to get rid of that, have a little more space. And I just realized that it's probably kind of small for you. So let me bump that up. Sorry about that. Let me get rid of that. Scooch this over a little bit. And then get rid of that stuff. Boom. Save that. And loading your position. Please don't take so long to load my position. There you are. Boom. It worked. We're using a state machine. It's amazing. Let's, whoa, that is not what I intended. React Dev Tools in Code Sandbox. That's legit. Okay, cool. So this is good. Let's go ahead and handle the rejected garbage here. So let's do target, rejected, actions, set error. And we'll come down here to our actions. We'll have a set error action that takes our context and event. And context.error equals event.error. And like magic, it will probably work. Yeah, let's see. Mutation. This will work, but accidentally. That's what assign is for. So I want to know what assign does, though, which is why I'm not using assign right now. So I'm guessing that instead of mutating the context, which I understand is maybe not desirable, we return the context, maybe, or return an object that has the context. I just want to know what this assign thing is doing, and I don't want to just rely on assign working. So, I just want to understand what's going on. Actions, send. Well, that's interesting. So I'm assuming that this send is not the same send that I get back from use machine, because the send that I get back from use machine is actually going to trigger an event. That is confusing, David. It's confusing. Yeah, the React world isn't ready for that yet. LOL. Definitely mean material. All right. I'm cool with that. What's the main point of state machines? Is it not being able to reach invalid state? I would say that's a pretty main point of state machines. It makes it easier to model, or it. So writing a state machine is you embracing the fact that there are state machines in your application already, and codifying those so that you avoid bugs of impossible states. Yep, that's what I'd say. Send action creator is whatever thing. It's basically sending events to itself. That makes sense. Technically, it does do the same thing as your other send. Yeah, except I disagree with the creator of XState, but it does not do the same thing because send here is not going to trigger an update to or trigger a re-render of my component or trigger an update to my state machine, whereas send inside of my component is going to trigger an update to my state based on my state machine. So it's going to trigger a transition. Unless I'm like way off, but that's what it seems to me, is that the send I get back from use machine is triggering a transition. Whereas this send does no such thing. It simply makes or returns an object. So, I mean, I hate to be all nuancical. Is that a word? I don't know. Don't worry about that send. Very good. Okay, cool. So I do need to figure out what is that assign thing doing. This is what I want to know. How do I do this without mutation, without using assign? So David, I need to know this. So I see these magical assign things, but I want to know what it's doing. So here's what I guess. Unless you jump in and tell me that, this is what I'm going to do. We're going to pull in assign from machine. We're going to come down here. And we're going to say assign. And what do? We assign. And then give it an object. And then a context value. Give that a function that plucks off the thing from the context thing that I want. All right. So we're going to get our return value and return that return value. And I'm going to console log that return value. And then we're going to pass it a function that takes the thing that send got, I guess. Where am I? Oh, no, we're going to pass an object with a property on the context that I want to update, which in my case will be position. That'll accept the context in the event, and it'll pluck off the value for position. Okay, so we're going to say position, and we'll have context and event, and we're going to say event.position. But I'm going to stick here, what are we going to do? Get rid of that. We're going to stick a debugger here, and I'm going to stick, return that, a debugger here. We're just going to dive into this. I haven't been watching the comments, so maybe David's already answered this, my question about this, but I want to dive in anyway. So here we are in the source code. We have our assignment object thing, and it's just returning an object that has a type. Oh, interesting. So it's like an internal type and the assignment function. All right, so that doesn't do me a whole lot of good here, but my next debugger statement is going to help a lot more once we get to it. If we can refresh now. Well, boo. All right, let's just, we'll just do this here. Return to do. All right, play that through. No dice. Oh, wait, I need to... Yeah, okay, so set position actually needs to be assigned to that object. Yeah, no problem. I'm good, we're good. I'm sure that all of this revelation is happening in the comments. Yes, there it is. But I'm struggling through this on my own. My bad. Let's come back up here. We'll get rid of this. Stick it right there. We're good. Here we go. And boom, there we are. So let's back up. What? No. Code sandbox. Oh no, I'm on the wrong. That's the threads, not the call stack. Here we go. Call stack. So here we're at transition. That's our interpreter stuff. We're back up in my code. So the send goes into the interpreter, which goes through the scheduler. No way. You've got a scheduler in here? What is this? Process task? Flush events? Okay, reveal in sidebar. Where is this? This is all in X state? My. So advanced. Okay, so now we're at state node transition. We're going to resolve our transition. to update some context. So we're going to take all the assign actions, and if there are any, then we're going to do this stuff. Otherwise, we're going to wind up with the current context. And then we're going to call this update context with all those actions. And here we are in update context with all those actions. And we're going to reduce those actions into a context starting at the existing context, which I'm assuming is why mutation works. Not necessarily, but anyway, we have our accumulator, we have our assign action function, and because the assign helper is returning an object that has an assignment property on it, that's why our assignment is a function and therefore gets called. And that right there, it looks like that's probably the line that is getting called. Nope, I wind up in this else somehow. So assignment is... Oh, okay, no. I see. So you can pass a function to assign and then return an object of all the properties you want. So that's interesting. Yeah, interesting feature. So then we have else. We're going to try for this for loop. Wow, is this a generator? We're iterating over this with next and done and stuff. My. So then we get our current value, which is we're basically iterating through all the keys of this this object that we've passed. So in our case, that is this object. Whoop, that thing. Can I select that? Oh, sweet. I thought I was like debugging, so I couldn't do anything here. But we've got a position, so we're iterating through all the keys there, and then we come here. Sorry, I just realized that's super small for you all. You gotta, well, I was gonna tell you that you gotta tell me when I'm doing stuff like this, but I'm not paying attention to the comments anyway. Sorry. Let me just check out what the comments are. Each assign action describes how they assign to context. Why don't you put a jump on a call with them? That'd be fun. Maybe next time. Good exercise for David's sake. Yeah, I like to help as little as it is. Yeah. No, David, I was diving into the docs and they weren't telling me what I wanted. I wanted to know what action does or what this assign thing does. That's what I wanted to know. And I didn't see anything. Assign, nothing. We've got nothing on assign. I'm looking at guides though. We probably want to look at packages and nope, it's not in there. Patterns won't be in there. Examples, no, probably not. Tutorials, Reddit API, nope. Recipes, about, yeah. So what I wanted wasn't in the docs. I do tend to jump into source code, and not even source code. I do debugger stuff like this quite often. So you're good. Yeah, all action creators return an object. It makes sense. Yeah. Okay, cool. So anyway, we're now in the position key. We're getting the assignment for that position key, and then if it's a function, then we're going to call that function, and that's going to be assigned to the context value. And in our case, we're mutating the or we actually technically could mutate the context. And that, I think, actually is what we were doing before. When I had my own thing, I wasn't using assign. My assignment itself was a function. Not exactly, because I didn't have a assign action. I was just doing a straight up function. Yeah, I'm trying to follow through the code to see what path my code was taking before I used this assign action thing, but it looks like this may be a different code path. Maybe. Anyway, yeah, so here we're going to call it. We're going to return event.position, and then that will be assigned to the partial update at that key. And then here, all this gobbledygook, that's probably compiler stuff. What is this E71? I don't know what that is. Some sort of TypeScript something or other. My guess. TypeScript. Psh, just kidding. TypeScript's great. Anyway, once we're all done, we're gonna return here. Let's just keep on going. Just boop boop boo. Grab that. Here, I'm gonna just continue to right here. Continue to here. Boom. So here we've got our partial update that has our position. That's our geolocation position with the coordinates and all that. This is our accumulator, which was our initial context, so our position and our error. And we're assigning that to this empty object so that we don't mutate, because mutation is less than cool. And we're going to return, and xstate is all about being 100% cool. We're going to return that and iterate on the next reducer until finally we're done with all of the actions, which in our case we only had one. And so we'll continue to here, and that's weird. Return updated context. Well, we missed that. I guess you can't continue to a return statement, but in any case, we did it, we made it, and now our position's been updated. Sweet. So given that, check this out. Now, instead of using assign, I'm going to do, we're going to do this ourselves. Action type, what was it? Action, where'd it go? Ah, man. Here we go. Oh, what was it? Rats. Assign actions. No. Coming back. We've got assignment, and actually maybe that's all we need. Let's try that first. Assignment. And this is going to be context and event, and we'll do return. Position is event.position. Does that work? Still pending. What garbage. I gotta bring this thing back. Set timeout. I don't want to wait for my geo position to get come around, so we're gonna just boop, bam, 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 bam. Return, or no, send. I'm not typing that again. I wasn't born yesterday. Here we go. And position, chords, latitude, blah, and longitude, blue. Here we go. No implementation found for action type set position. Well, boo. I thought that would work. There's got to be a type. Type, it was xstate assign. Boo. Okay, I can't remember what it was. Anyway, I now have a pretty good understanding what assign is doing, so I'm not going to worry about it anymore. And now we're just going to say assign. We'll get that. We'll pluck off the event.position, and yeah, that'll be it. And then result Oh, let's comment that out. I'm not sure why my thing isn't getting updated, so I know why. Whoops. Because my assign needs to be an object that has, or actually, we could do, I think this should work. Position. We're getting oh, haha, my bad. Yeah, there we go. So that works. That is one way to do it. Or it seems like the more conventional way to do it is to have this context, event, and actually let's do it as an arrow function so we can look pretty hipster. There we go. That's better. Sweet. So now we'll get rid of this doodad, blah and blue. So awesome. And then if we comment this out and do a send type, reject, and error message, oh no. There we go. Boom. Like magic. And let's make that work a lot better. Assign error will be that, and we'll get that, and that, and that, and that, and that, and that, and that. Boom. Boo. What did I do wrong? Oh, yeah. There we go. Sweet. Look at that assign beauty. Classic. Organic. I don't know what David is referring to. Filtered. Reduced. Mathematics. Okay. So, what's next? I think. So yeah, we go from pending. Now we need to do the same thing for all of these. But you know what? This is going to be the exact same for all of these. So David, will you please tell me if this is a legit thing to do, or if there's some sort of helper built in that I should take advantage of. But this is what I want to do. Resolve is going to just be this thing. And reject is going to be this other thing. And we'll do the same thing here. And here. Dry that thing up. And we'll come in here. And then actually, I could make this a freaking dried up thing too, so that would be interesting. So yeah, we could just, I don't know, probably too dry, starting to get a little brittle, crackly. But I'm curious to know whether this is like, whether there is an established helper or some sort of pattern. You can totally do that. The joys of an object API. Awesome. Objects are the best. Okay, cool. So let's just go with that. We'll just stick with that. I don't know. See, when I'm using it in a blog post, I worry that like trying to decide between being dry and being clear, and I mean it's just a lot of repetition. This is Sahara level dry. Yeah. Yeah, we could make it pretty like Mars level dry if we wanted to, but the patterns are what you make. It's just JS. Actually, I really like the object API. I think that's great. So anyway, I'm feeling pretty good about this. So we're going to say rejected, not supported, and this means that I can come down here in my status. The reason I'm mapping value to status is because the old version was had status as a member of the state, and it made sense there. And so I'm just going to be like, and here's what it would look like with a state machine. And so I'll keep the render exactly the same, but yeah, but this one thing I'm going to say, hey, if the status is this thing, rejected, not supported, then we can return div your or this browser. I've been trying really hard to stop using things like your, like when I'm validating somebody's computer for workshop that they're setting up or something. Instead of saying your computer is the worst, I say this machine is not does not have a version of Node that's supported or something like that. So we'll say this browser does not support geolocation. Boom. See, and that's cool because it means that the consumer of my hook can choose what they're going to do with that finite state. And it's a unique, different state from the other error state, which has a different message. And I think that makes sense. So that's cool. Let's get rid of all this stuff. I'm fine plucking off the position and error from our context right there. I want to do that just to have some congruency with our other version. I'm going to get rid of the set timeout monster, and we'll put this stuff back in. Actually, I am curious, David. I would like to see. Thank you. An immediate question is: are you expecting a resolve reject event in any of those states? So I'm guessing that question was asked earlier. So in all of these, you can get either of these. So like from what unless I'm forgetting something, This state machine is sound, and these are all the transitions that can occur. So as the user is moving around, you can go from resolved to a different resolved state. So maybe that would be like an update position event, I guess. I kind of like sticking with the promise type of machine, but this isn't really a promise. This is more of like an observable. I don't know anything about observables, but I would think that is more of, it's a thing that can change over time. Somebody's knocking on my door. I'll be back in here in a second. All right, so as you can see, my boy is coming in. We're going to read. And the last thing that I wanted to say here is I wanted to see if I could get rid of this use effect entirely and do all of this stuff inside the machine or the actions or something. And that would be something that I want to learn about in the future. But I think this is probably a good place to stop for my blog post, so we're good. Yeah, so thanks a ton for your help. That's kind of weird. My green screen thing is still in effect on that blue paper in the wall behind me there. But yeah, thanks so much for hanging out with me. I learned some stuff. I'm excited to post this, and hope you all have an awesome rest of your day. I'm going to go read with this kid. So see you later.